Welcome to Bridging the Gap.
What's up? Bridging the Gap.
Coach
crew.
B.
Dev here, chilling.
What episode are we on?
I don't even know, man. We shouldn't keep track of them because at some point we're going to get to like 5,000 or something, and then we're just going to be like, what episode are we on? I'm like, dude, we stopped counting after like 200. So
yeah, that's a possibility. I'm just in curiosity mode, like which one are we at, you know? So what's been going on with you? What's your fucking, what was I gonna call you? What's your YouTube channel name?
what, the Gingerlicious?
Gingerlicious. This is Ginger, my co-host Gingerlicious. Go to his YouTube and check it out. Get him some support for that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put that on our thing?
It'll if we do it, it'll purely be like a gaming thing where like I would just play a video game and post some shit. That's it. I wouldn't do anything else with that channel. That's all I would do on just play video games. But
that was your goal for it?
Well, the goal was like to play video games and eventually get sponsored for playing video games by, you get sponsored because so many people watch your videos. You get sponsorships from like Twitch and so many viewers and comments, likes, blah blah. Like just like any other monetization thing that happens anymore. That was the game plan, but like I said, I kind of fell off with it because I don't like video. I like playing video games, but the effort that it goes into making a video for a video game doesn't feel good to me because of the fact is I want to do more important things. Like playing video games, you almost like this is like a waste of my time, unless like I just want to blow off some steam or I've just had like a day where I don't want to think about shit.
Could be a slow grind thing.
Yeah.
If you do it and you're hanging out with people, you might as well.
Record.
Just get it. Maybe you come across something.
Yeah, right. And then
if you're doing it, This is our third chair. By the way, we're always looking for a third chair co-host. So, anybody that is interested in getting on here. We're particularly, I want to get a female, but we're gonna go with whatever works. But I'd like to get a female, a mid 25-year-old female, so we can get it all the ages represented. If you're not scared to come mix it up with with the guys, and you got to be able to throw a beer back, watch a football game, and talk shit. Only qualifications that's needed. But this is our third chair for today. I don't know, Under Armour.
You can talk shit and not know anything about football. We'll just correct you if you're wrong, but
right. You just got to be able to mix it up. You can't be in here all scared. So we need a third chair on that.
Yeah, right. But right now, today is our good friend Under Armour football, and that actually brings us to the topic.
Hold on a second. Let's first of all, congratulations. You did a great job on rolling that up.
Well, Corey of the T-shirts?
Giving out the congratulations on everybody that won one. You know what I mean?
Like I said,
Bridging the Gap, we got these. You pretty much put them all up on the post and everything. So congratulations for everybody for getting our likes up. We're going to do this stuff often, you know what I mean? Because we need those likes. We need the support. So definitely get on there, get on our YouTube page, subscribe, give us some support. That's all we need from you guys. And we'll keep doing content. Drop what you do. We need that. We need to know if you guys got something going on so we can support you back. That's the way to get it. Well, congratulations, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. And I was going to say, too, about the T-shirt giveaway. Like I said, we'll be, doing those in the future as well. So I don't know when the next event's going to be for that. Also, I was going to let you guys know, too, we're going to open up a store for people that are interested in buying the shirts. I haven't gotten a link for it yet or anything official, but whenever I get that page set up, I'll let you know. I know there's a couple people that are already in the know. If you want a shirt, like I said, and I don't already know about you, leave a comment that you want a shirt. Like I said, that way I know who to message and who to comment back to whenever I get the web page set up. But
we got a couple things like what's been going on. You said who passed away?
Stephen Hawking passed away.
Yeah, I didn't really know he was a physicist. Right?
Astrophysicist. So he had theories about black holes and space and time travel and all kinds of stuff. He's a really smart dude.
He was. I've known him I didn't really know what exactly he did, but I seen him in inspirational things.
Right. Yeah.
He was an inspirer.
He had a movie too, I think. They made a movie about him.
I think I seen something on that.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I know they made a movie about him and his lifestyle because he had a wife and then he got the Lou Gehrig's and it deteriorated his whole physical being, as it were. Because
that's straight.
That's what happened to him. Was he just progressively got. I think he died at 76. I think it's because he just finally had nothing left to give. He just couldn't move anymore. He's a potato, you know, because like he just rolled around in a chair and it's crazy.
He was still kicking and moving though.
Yeah, right.
He was still doing
Hot
being
Wheels.
inspirational.
Yeah, right. Of course. And like I said, he was in his Hot Wheels. That's what I was joking about. Like he was just rolling around, like, you know.
It is what it is. Another person passed yesterday in the hip hop world. I don't know if you know who Craig Mack is.
Craig Mack.
Yeah, you never heard the song "Flavor in Your Ear"? Here comes the brand new flavor in your ear.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's from like '94. But what made him so significant was, I think Diddy would be where he's at now, regardless. But his song got Diddy the contract to make Bad Boy Records, which in turn got Biggie and then got everybody going. That one song, because it was a hit, he was able to go to the Clive Davis and get $30 million. So he was a big part of hip hop. So I just said rest in peace to him. And what else is happening? I've seen a couple things happening. Oh, speaking of hip hop, I don't care what the young crowd in hip hop does. The young guys. You guys can do whatever you want to do. It's not my music. I mean, some of it I vibe to, some of it I don't. But the Little Xan rapper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He I don't expect him to know he's like, what, 19 years old. I expect
Little
him
Xan,
to...
you mean Lil Uzi Vert? Because Little Xan died.
No, Little Xan is still alive.
Oh, yes, never mind. I'm thinking of Little, I don't know what the fuck his name is.
He stopped taking pills because that other one died.
Yeah, right.
But he was at an interview, and these guys tricked him, really. And he need to be media trained because there's certain things you just don't say, especially if you're in the hip-hop genre, you know. They asked him about Tupac's music, and he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give Tupac's music? And he said 2. He said it was boring. So hip hop attacked him.
Yeah, right.
Everybody started, you know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? But that's his opinion. I get it. But there's certain things you just don't say, especially if you're in the genre. You got to give respect to the people, to the greats. You just don't downplay it like it's nothing, even if it's not for you. Right. You know what I mean? If it's not, you don't like the music, it doesn't, you know.
So like you're saying, maybe the more appropriate answer would have been, I respect everything Tupac did. I was like, but to me, he's like a 2. Like I don't enjoy his music that much.
No, he should have never said anything like that.
He should
have just said. He should have said what he tried to say in the retraction, but he retracted and said, "Oh no, my brother likes Tupac." He should have said, "Oh, my brother listen." That's his answer. Should have been the first time. My brother grew up on Tupac. He loves Tupac.
So you almost gotta be like a little bitch though. You have to be a little bitch, and you have to say that if you don't agree with someone's music or don't like it, you can't say, I don't like it.
We're talking about Tupac. We're not talking about just anybody.
I know. I'm just saying.
About Tupac.
But I'm saying you can't be real and just if you honestly don't like Tupac's music, right?
Yeah.
People can't just respect his opinion. That's what I'm saying. Because like I said, like I love Tupac, but I'm saying like. I can't, if that kid was like, yeah, man, like, I don't think Tupac's that great, I just can't vibe with his music, okay, fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't agree with your opinion, and I don't like that, but that doesn't mean, like, I'm going to come down on you like the hammer of God, unless, like, he said some straight disrespectful shit. That's why I'm saying the better thing to have said maybe would have been, that way he stayed to his, his roots of what he said, but also, like, in a humble manner. I respect everything Tupac did for the game, and I was like, and I know who Tupac is. I was like, he's a great, whatever. I was like, but me personally, his music, I don't enjoy it. That's all you can say. You don't even have to give it a rating.
Right.
You could have just.
Well, they kind of baited him into it. The point I'm getting at is he's not media trained.
Right. And
the people around him are people that grew up in the game that make money off of him. Are people that people that were in the game with Pac. They know who Pac is. Mm-hmm. So you have to train your artists to be like, hey, especially going into veteran, interviewers and people that's been around all these years, they're gonna try to trick you up.
Right, because they want the views. They want the views because that's what they want to do. They want you to say, yeah, Tupac's a 2, and then they can share it everywhere and say, this kid said Tupac's a 2, everybody, and then they can go, oh, on the internet and like shit themselves and like everybody can just jerk off to Tupac for 5 minutes, oh, Tupac was, blah, 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 which, like I said, he's great, but I'm saying like that, like, what Little Xan said.
Mhm.
You know, that's just so like they can reinforce it and they can just all have like a jerk off fest in the comment section saying, "Oh, Tupac was great. This kid's a fucking piece of trash." You know, and that's
Right,
what it is.
and the point
but
of
it
the-
gets, but it gets the website that or the website that interviewed him views.
Right.
So that's why they bait him into those kind of questions.
I get it.
And you're right though. It needs media trained because if you're not trained because you need to understand what media companies are trying to get you to say in their interviews. You know what I mean? They're trying to goad you a certain way. So you have to give them the answer that you're gonna give them. You know.
And it's just it's overall respect your elders thing, man.
Right.
Even if you don't like the life expectancies of these little guys is 3 years. It's less than an NFL football player.
Wow.
You're not going to be around hip hop. You're not going to be a stay in hip hop. It's the very few of those guys are going to be around. Everybody says it. Everybody knows it. Their representation knows it. They just don't have longevity because people's attention and how they consume music is so fast. There's going to be another little Jimmy J coming after you in 2 weeks. That's going to have a hot song. So, but in saying all that, it brought up. I was in a group chat and it brought up this question. Somebody asked, okay, and they were making a valid point. They were saying just say President Trump. What if he came to wherever you were at?
Mm.
How would you? And you dislike him. You don't like him. Would you still call him Mr. President and show him respect at this particular point?
Would I personally?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call him Mr. President. I would just call him Donald Trump. I just be like, Mr. Trump, you know, like
Just
whatever.
call him Mr. Trump.
Yeah, I mean, like.
So you would.
I mean, like even if I met the president, like President Obama, I wouldn't just go Mr. President. I feel like I would just go hi, you know, Obama. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like,
Get the fuck out of here!
I'm saying like
You would say that to no president. If even if
Trump.
Trump walked in here, I would address him because he is our president.
Right.
Whether I disagree
But
with him or not.
I'm just saying like I don't feel like I don't know.
I wouldn't be like
weird.
fuck you, dude.
It feels weird.
I wouldn't do that.
Because like that's how I am with like a lot of things. Like I just don't feel like I feel like I'm selling myself whenever I start going.
Well, let's see. Come here, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, Mr. Trump. What if? Like he's like.
Yo, we'd be off the hook. Our views would be through the ceiling if Trump. He'd be in the third seat and we'd clown him all.
Because everybody would just crap themselves. They'd be like, oh, like there was a joke. And Mr. Trump just like Donald Trump just sits down right beside us,
drinking water with his two hands, like. But yeah, it was interesting because the way I thought about it, I was like, as much as I would still show the respect
because
of what it represents, the
Right.
office and what it represents,
Right.
and that's what I think that these young guys should do, no matter if they know what the impact of these people and they know who they are. If you don't really like them, you still gotta respect what it is. You gotta respect the people that paved this way to make it easier for you. That's the point, like he was trying to get at.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I don't know. I was saying maybe like, but you show respect to that person. Like I said, like what I suggested, like you say, I mean, I respect him, I respect everything he's done, blah blah. I just don't like his music. That's just like when the president comes in here, like you could just say to him, like, hey, Mr. Trump, I respect you, I respect everything that you do, as I respect what you're trying to do.
And he'd be like, bridging the gap is fake news.
Yep, exactly. He'd just say fake news. It's fake.
And then we'll just.
It's fake.
I'll clothesline him.
It's all fake.
We'll be in here rumbling with a Secret Service. Fuck it. Let's go out.
Let's go.
But yeah, that was pretty much like anything else. You see anything else in the news you want to discuss?
No, I mean I saw the discharge. The teacher had a gun in class. They gave him a gun and a discharge. I'm sure you shared that today with our group, and I was like,
oh yeah, it's on the page. Check it out.
yeah, check it out. But I was just like, when I read it, I was just like, eh. I mean, I'm not sitting there saying like it's not the answer, but it's also like, yeah, see, this is one of the problems we're gonna have is teachers aren't all trained how to use guns. So like, if you give a teacher a gun, they're gonna have to learn. You have to teach them how to use it and all kinds of other crap. You know what I mean? Like that's all I was saying. Like
they just got to restructure the budget to have people on site that are trained for that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's just that simple. They got to stop cutting the budgets for schools and boost up the budget to protect them, especially in the areas that these things keep happening. I mean, I guess you can't really tell, but it's all in specific areas. It's not in the inner city that kids are going to shoot up schools. It's not happening.
Yeah, right.
And they have that there. There's police officers in schools, metal detectors and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not school shootings. I get what you're saying. Like, it's always like some kind of like hole in the wall school. Now that I think about it, you know, it's always somewhere like you never You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a big city school. It's always like
No, it's like in a like where you live at,
Yeah.
type shit.
there was actually a threat at that school.
Was there?
Yeah, a kid from the school got arrested.
But that's the type of community where it's happening at, though.
Yeah, right. Of course. And like I said, they took it seriously. They arrested the kid, and I think he's in like juvie. Or
I think I
jail or
seen something like that. On
Yep.
the news or something.
Yep. He was from my school. It's crazy. My high school, not my actual school.
Yeah, that shit's scary. You know what I mean? Especially for kids out there. I got family members, little cousins and stuff that's still in school. I wouldn't want something like that to happen. It's just crazy. They're talking about putting a police station in our school where I'm from.
In it, like just an actual police station in the
police
school.
station, a little mini police.
That's crazy. I think
all of our whole city's in one school now because they cut the budget.
Right. So yeah, you're right. So I guess they would have to make like
they gotta put out a lot of fires all day because you got every neighborhood that usually fights with each other every day.
In one school. Yeah.
They're beefing. Anything else? What did I see? Oh, I want to say congratulations back onto hip hop. Congratulations to Nas. He been down in Silicon Valley for the last couple years investing in projects. Amazon just bought one of his things that he project for $1.2 billion.
What project?
It's a doorbell system, some kind of doorbell that it's like in it cameras and it's one big thing. I forgot the name of
It's an integrated.
but it's something that's going to be all over the place, and they bought it, and he ended up out of his investment got a $40 million check out of it. So I like that. I respect that. So yeah, all right. Well, what are we talking about today? Some football.
We're talking about some football today. More importantly, though, we're just talking about the riff-raff of the NFL, that is the free agency and the NFL draft. You know how teams fill the roster spots on their teams, respectively. I mean, no big controversial issue today, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about too many of those. We're going to take it back just a step. But,
we're just going to get
controversial in this, and because we have a couple of draft stories about draft prospects that went to the NFL in the past and their lives kind of fell, flat. Like, what happens to, like, NFL players if, like, their whole life goes south,
Yeah, it happens. And what the upcoming, what are their expectations? Where are they going to go? Are they going to be one of those people? Or are they going to be one of those people that fall into that category? Are they going to be a bust, or are they going to make it?
Right, and maybe they could learn from the advice that we're about to give or they can learn from the advice and the stories from the other players we're going to talk about today, where they goofed up and made a big mess of things.
I seen free agency is great though to me. People say it killed it killed the dynasty. It killed. You can't keep a team together for a long time.
Yeah, but I still love free agency. I love it.
But speaking of one that changed everything, like this is how big free agent one player can be. The Herschel Walker. If everybody out there, if you know who Herschel Walker is, he played for the Cowboys. They drafted him. The Vikings wanted him so much that they gave up, I can't remember exactly, so you're going to have to do the research. But I think they gave up 6 picks, and 3 of them were in the top 15. That's how they ended up building that dynasty. They ended up getting Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin.
Right.
And I think a couple linemen and defensive players out of that draft.
Right.
And built that team that won 3 Super Bowls.
Just because they won one team,
one player.
So bad.
Yeah. So I like it because if you catch the right trade, like my team, I'm a Steelers nation, and they don't play around with free agent. They don't sign too many people in free. They don't get active. They try to do theirs off the draft, which they do pretty good in the draft. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I wish they would just go grab a player.
Right, because there's always I always feel like towards playoff time recently, they always fall that one player short or something, where there's a position where it's that one player short. This year was the secondary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the playoffs, it was the secondary.
And Shazier going down, that sucks.
Yeah, Shazier going down too. That is. And
that puts pressure on our secondary.
Yeah, because that guy was the middle of the field coverage, and then you had to go probably to a nickel 2-4-5 set or something like that.
Well, yeah, we did have to do a lot of patchwork, really.
Yeah, because you had to put in. I guarantee you had to implement some kind of package to get a corner or safety to play the middle. Because Ryan Shazier you could have a linebacker that was a good tackler, and then you had to put a secondary guy in there because you needed the coverage skills more so than.
Yeah, and it was our free safety. He had to stay over top of certain part of the field, so he wasn't able to cover the whole field. So it was one-on-one a lot for people, and they were getting beat. Yeah. That happens. But free agency, like we were saying, there was a lot of moves. I think Cleveland, they did a great job.
I
think they're ready to start
winning
competing.
game. Right. Which, it's great because, them having an 0-16 season is amazing for two reasons. One, they lost every single game, which is amazingly awful. But what's ever more amazing is that they were so bad that the only way they could go is up, and they're making nothing but moves. I mean, Landry...
And they made all these moves without giving up their 1-3 pick.
Yeah, exactly.
So they still got that.
And they got the 1-3 pick. I mean, you think about it, because I know I saw that controversial Steelers, Le'Veon-esque trade for the Saquon. But I think the Browns, think about it like this, the Browns take Saquon, they wait a pick, get a quarterback, and then they still have all the pieces they had. That's incredible. I mean, the Browns really have the potential to make moves.
Okay, this is why that makes me think. Do you still think Saquon, because they signed Carlos Hyde today?
Did they?
Yeah, free agency.
How much?
And they have Duke Johnson. They signed him for 3 years.
But they also have Isaiah Crowell. They have great running
Crowell's
backs.
he's in free agent.
Oh,
They're gonna let him go.
Okay.
So they got Duke Johnson. Are they still gonna spend that number 1 on Saquon?
I mean, it's up in the air at that point. I believe Saquon is worth it at the first pick, even if you have 2 decent running backs, because you're going to get a guy like Saquon who, in my opinion, is a once-in-a-generation talent. So I think that you can, even if you have the 2 running backs, you take Saquon anyway, because Saquon gets hurt. That's great. I mean, if you're a team that's trying to build the win, you have that much cap room for your roster, and you have all these picks at your disposal. And because, right now, you would think that the Browns would draft for, by position. But they've been doing that. They've been doing that for years. And at this point, I think they have a solid foundation. They may have lost every game, but me and you both said it. They were competitive in every game they lost.
They were in every game.
And that's what I'm saying.
They just didn't have the experience to pull those close games out.
Right. Exactly. And you got another year now. They have a solid foundation. I'm saying you could start going after the players that have just the superstar talent or the development. Now, I'm not saying that's not what you do. Of course, you can be them and grab a quarterback in the first round. If there's a quarterback they really think is going to be the guy who's going to change their team, their roster, then get him in the first pick overall. But I'm saying if you think like the quarterbacks are comparable talent, like there's other quarterbacks in the draft, you get the 3rd pick, right? Mm-hmm. Then go ahead and just grab Saquon. Then you can wait around, see what quarterbacks picked, and then just take the other one. If you think all the quarterbacks in the draft are comparable talent, that's just my way of looking at it.
Yeah, and I see this. Here's a fun fact though about the draft and running backs. The last time a number 1 pick was in, I think it was 95, 93, 95, somewhere around there, and it was another Penn Stater. And it was a person that I was going to talk about in the second part of our talk about failures. It was Kajana Carter. Excellent in college, failed in the NFL, and he was the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So
you're feeling like you're going to get Saquon's career jinx?
Yeah. If I'm Saquon knowing this, am I like, no, let the Giants pick me? You know what I mean? Because he's from New York. I think he wants to play with the Giants.
Right, of course.
And another thing that happened, too, is their number 1 pick from years ago retired. Joe Thomas, their blindside tackle.
Did you see that? Yeah.
That's huge. So are they going... He was a number 1 pick.
Yeah, he was great.
And he was solid for 11 years, yeah.
And the good news is the Browns last offseason took care of a lot of holes that they had in their roster. So it's nice that they addressed that, knowing Joe Thomas was getting older. That way they didn't have to replace their whole line all at one time. Because last year they took care of their guard holes. They got Jake and their right tackle because they got Jake Matthews from the Falcons, and then they got either Incognito or whoever in the middle from their left guard position, right guard position. They took care of their line basically, knowing that Joe was going to get old, and now they don't have to rebuild it all at once. So now they can either sign a free agent or they can draft a left tackle.
Yeah, because they had 10 picks in this draft left.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And they still have, or it might be 12. 10 or 12, and they have like $70 million to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to be competitive, and that's what I'm noticing is the trend that I'm looking at teams and the moves that they're making. That there's going to be a lot of competitive team more than last year.
Right, and that's why I said this is why I enjoy free agency, because you get an opportunity for players that are great to hit an open market And then because other teams either can't afford them or they're trying to or they don't need the position clearly at that time. And you have like Ndamukong Suh who's going out in the open market. He's going to make one NFL team, very happy, and he could be that one piece that they need, even at a reduced rate.
Yeah, because he's still going to get money from the Dolphins.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. But I'm saying he's going to make one team very happy, and I like that.
So he can afford to get a little wiggle room to be on a great team that has limited space.
Right. And not even just that, but just the ability that like the whole competition of the league can change in 1 year. Like it really can be any team next year that's good. I mean, of course, it's going to probably end up being some of the same 5, 6, 7 teams that are good, but you're going to see the progression of other teams, and they're going to become competitive. We're like, the Browns, we're not going to be able to write them off every game.
No. Last year, like we said, they were pretty competitive.
Just like the 49ers when they got Jimmy G, and then they went 6-10. I'm
whole new ball game for them.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm sitting there going, well, now I can't count out the 49ers ever again.
No, because he won what? What did he win? 6 of the last 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, he won pretty much every game.
And and they had weak spots.
Right. I mean, like, think about this. Their wide receiver core was Jeremy Curley and Marquise Goodwin.
Marquise, I could see staying playing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, think about that.
Yeah,
what kind of weapons are those? I mean, they're good players, solid players, but they're not Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. You know what I mean? And they still won games because they had good coaching, and Jimmy G came to play.
And if he's healthy, and you see how things change so quickly though too. Richard Sherman, he's on their squad.
Yeah,
he's at the 49ers if nobody knows, which I'm sure everybody that likes football knows. But he was so pivotal for years there, shut down corner where you don't throw the ball to his side.
Like he would just
but he gets hurt and it's done.
Yeah.
That's how it happens in the NFL. And that's one of the points I was trying to get at, like the changes that happen, like the changes that happen so quickly from year in and year out, like you just mentioned. If you get hurt, man, it's pretty much a gamble with Richard Sherman right now. They gave him, $39 million for 3 years?
Didn't he have a complete ACL tear?
Yeah.
Something like that. So, I mean, that's
a gamble.
It's a gamble, yeah.
He's definitely going to lose a step. But is it going to be horrible where it's like he's done?
Or is it going to be like Darrelle Revis with the Patriots the 1 year where like he lost his step, but he still had the coverage skills intact?
Yeah, he was still good. So that's something to look at too. You know what I mean? And there's all kinds of moves that like the thing, like I'm speaking as a coach. I'm not speaking as front office when I speak because that's what I do. But like what happened in Minnesota, they get Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
They got Teddy Bridgewater went to the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Bradford, I think, is going to the Cardinals when it's all said and done.
Right.
And Case
Keenum.
He's supposed to go to the Broncos, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the Broncos?
That's what they have the saying as it go.
But me, I'm like, I'm keeping Case, to be honest. And I probably would have kept Teddy Bridgewater.
Right, because he's still young. He's still got time to develop.
And just see what he has.
And Case is, 32 years old?
Yeah, and he...
33? So, Case can still play in the league for a lot longer, or if he continues at the rate he's on, and you still have Teddy back there who's, developing...
And just to see if he could get to... And I know it's a business.
Right.
It's a business. They got to go with what they think works. Do we believe Kirk Cousins is going to come in and do better for that money than Case Keenum did? Do we think he's going to do way more better? It's possible.
That is true. That is true. But I'm saying it's good news for the rest of the league because there are quarterback-needy teams out there, and there is going to be a plethora of decent quarterbacks out this year.
Right.
Between Teddy and Case and Sam. They're not great quarterbacks, but they're people that you can throw in, you can start them, you can win games with them.
You know who I think's going to be good too? The Bears. That quarterback they got, that Mitch Trubisky. He started showing light at the end of the year. He was efficient. He was getting, you know what I mean? They just weren't getting over the hump. They were just playing.
And they had defense.
Yeah, and they didn't have no weapons, like you said.
Yeah, they need weapons. And then
they got 2 backs.
Yeah, because they have running game weapons.
No passing.
Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard are freaking monsters. Tariq Cohen's just a little elusive guy, and Jordan, because he's a change of pace.
Power guy.
And then
Jordan destroyed us.
Yeah.
in week like 3,
Yeah.
he ran all over us. Jordan Howard, you know, and Tariq, like you said, changed pace. And they got Allen Robinson.
What's that? Yeah, and A-Rob, yeah, because
Yeah,
and A-Rob he's great. Allen Robinson's great. He was good for the Jags. You know what I mean? He's a big body receiver. He's a Penn State alum too.
Yeah, Penn State all around the board.
Penn State.
Penn State, we are Penn State. That's my favorite squad. So I'm really hoping that Saquon, you know, he gets the right fit for him, and he doesn't get, you know, I hope if it is Cleveland that they at least, you know, be competitive in our division so we can get the AFC North back to what it really's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Where nobody wanted to come and play the everybody. It was dangerous in the NFC and the AFC North.
Yeah,
it was dangerous. But I hope everything, like you said, free agency. I love it because like it changes everything.
Right.
It changes everything if you can get the right puzzle pieces.
If you can get the right pieces. I mean, but still, even if not, it's just so interesting because you get to see. Because it's even beautiful too when a player doesn't thrive in a certain system or a certain team, and then he goes somewhere and then he becomes great. Rich Gannon, the quarterback for the Raiders, whenever they had all those playoff wins and stuff under John Gruden, he was a late bloomer. The guy was like 30 something, and then when he got to the Raiders, he was almost 40, and then he started just doing business. He was doing work because they created a system that worked for him, and he just did great. Just like, other players.
You said Rich Gannon, Brad Johnson too.
Yeah, Brad Johnson. There's all kinds of players like that where they left. They just sucked. Josh Norton played for Carolina. He was just on the bench for a while. But there's tons of players, tons of examples. I just can't think off the top of my head where a player was like, wasn't great on a team. He was just solid, and then he went to another team, and then he just exploded into like a superstar.
Fit in the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Fit in the system. So yeah, I'm interested in to see what the moves that are being made. I guarantee that your guys are going to be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's going to be defensive players in the market.
Coach alone is going to amp that whole place.
I would, what I kind of want now, and they've talked about it before when Ndamukong went free agency. I kind of want Ndamukong because we always wanted we need a run gap filler, and we let Justin Ellis go. I'm going to speculate on that one. Don't hold me to that, but I want Ndamukong to go visit the Raiders just because.
It's a possibility. They've been quiet, right? They haven't done anything yet.
Who?
The Raiders.
No, they have. They just made, but you can tell they're going to try and make some moves because they're cutting players to make cap space. Because I think they're going to try and make some.
Well, you got to look
moves.
the one, and that's why I said coach coming in there. He knows his players. He's not just an X and O's coach. He knows the personnel he needs.
Right.
He did it with the
Tampa
Bay when he left the Raiders. He left that Raiders the way it was and went to Tampa Bay, which Coach Dungy built up that team. But he made the proper adjustments when he got over there to get the team and then win the Super Bowl. And also left the Raiders in great condition to be in the Super Bowl against them.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So he knows what he's doing. That's why they gave him what they gave him. They know he's going to change it
the
around.
culture and get it done. Right.
And that's the stuff that I believe. Like if you could tell when they put situations like some of these hires, like I could be like, that's not going to work. They just don't. Like dude staying back home. They said he was out the door. He already agreed to work to take the what job was he taking? The Colts job.
Right.
The offensive coordinator for the Patriots.
Yeah.
And he said he was cleaning out his office when Belichick, Kraft, and one of the Willie McGinnis that used to play, he's always around him. So he came in and they talked him into staying. You know what I mean? So because they know that it's an important piece of the puzzle to keep things going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're thinking legacy-wise in the next couple years down the road. And yeah, I agree.
And then you got the draft.
Yep. So, and this year's draft class is, I don't know, I'm excited about it because I feel like, I don't know, the past couple of draft classes have felt like okay, but I feel like, I don't know, this one's got like electrifying players and, like all around. I mean, the defense, usually it's more defensively heavy, like last few years. It's like the defensive players really stick out. Mm-hmm. This year, I'm like, there's just a lot of great quarterbacks. I hear great things about the running backs and the wideouts and even the defensive players. I'm hearing good things from the DN, like the pass rush and corner perspective. Last year was a really good year for DBs, but this year is like, I want to say it's more geared towards the linebackers and the DNs and stuff like that, like the defensive linemen. And one of the
which are major parts of your major parts of your team.
Right.
That's why they go so high.
Especially for a pass rusher that's elite.
You get a run filler and a pass rusher, they get up there in a high. What was what did we say? We were gonna pick 3 people and try to say.
Say some things about him. Like I said, I'm about to pull up some information here because the first guy I want to talk about is Shaquem Griffin. If anybody doesn't know who Shaquem Griffin is, I'll pull up a picture here. But he's the guy who entered the draft. He's from UCF, which they went undefeated this year.
Well, he actually didn't enter the draft. He wasn't invited.
He wasn't
fought
invited
his way to get in. Yeah.
He wasn't invited to the draft, but he was from UCF, which it was an undefeated team this year, right? Or they went 13-1 or something. They were really good. UCF,
yeah, they weren't undefeated, but they ended up beating a team in the bowl.
Yeah.
That beat Alabama.
Yeah, and they beat them, but they were still really good.
Oh yeah, they were good.
And anyway, Shaquem Griffin was a big part of that. This man doesn't have a hand. He's missing his, I believe, was it his left or his right hand? Regardless, he's missing a hand. It doesn't matter if you take away the left or the right. You're missing a hand in the game of football.
Yeah,
and the guy had a pick. He had an interception. He had, I believe, 4 passes defensed. He ran one of the fastest 40 times 40 linebacker in a long time, a 4.3, faster than some running backs and wide receivers. This linebacker ran. He did 20 reps on the bench with 200-something pounds with an apparatus that he used to help him bench, so an extension of his hand. So he benched without a hand, 20 reps. He's incredible. He's an incredible guy. He's got a great story, and I can't believe he wasn't invited to the Combine. Okay, here's the stats I was going to read off here. So he led the Knights with 57 solo tackles, and that was 92 total, 20 tackles for a loss, 11.5 sacks, and then, let me see, where was it at? Okay, and then that was just 1 year. And then the next following year, he went, this is 2017, 74 tackles, 13.5 for a loss, and then team high 7 sacks, 1 pick, and then 3 pass breakups, 2 breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. That was last year, the previous season we just had. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's great. I don't too much and that's what I'll segue that into a guy that failed. That's why I'm going to say that for this reason, is because I don't too much look at college stats. They mean absolutely nothing to me. Mm-hmm. Because of this reason right here, which I get this guy's great. I think he's going to make it. I think nobody's going to give him a handout to play. I think he's going to get drafted in the later rounds and he's going to get a shot on how hard he's showing that he wants to play.
Right. And we mean both. Talent. Doesn't mean
hard work
beats talent when talent don't work hard. And Shaquem's going to get on the field and he's going to make an impact. I can tell you that right now, especially with how fast he is. He could be a great coverage linebacker. But go ahead now. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to segue off that to one of the we also were going to bring up failures in the drafts, and perfect example. It goes a guy that put up stats. He was All-American a couple times. Dick Butkus Award 2-time winner. Mm-hmm. And he had all the stats. He had everything that says he can make it in the NFL. And he was a linebacker. Mm-hmm. His name was Brian Bosworth. You know Bos?
I do know the Bosworth, yep.
He got all those accolades. He was a force. He was one of those, he was like Lawrence Taylor type in college. He just destroyed the game.
Right.
You couldn't...
Game record.
Yeah, he did just change the whole game. So, for some reason, he wasn't eligible, so he had to go in the supplemental draft and got drafted in the first round to the Seattle Seahawks. So, he gets in the NFL. Uh-huh. Now you're seeing all those stats mean absolutely nothing. Because now you're playing against everybody that's got your same strength, your same speed. And he started getting nicked up with injuries. And then the biggest thing that I think crushed his whole career, where they just gave up on him, because after that, you didn't see too much of him no more, is that famous run by Bo Jackson. When he ran in, they had a square up where it was a head up, somebody's got to move. And Bo Jackson just ran him over.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that play. Yep.
You remember that?
He got totally devastated. He was the guy who got devastated.
I think that broke his pride too.
Yeah, it just destroyed him. He's like,
It destroyed that whole image of all my life I've been the best, everything. I've got all these accolades. I'm crushing football. But when you get in them big boys, you know what I mean? Competition's fair. Now you got to really work hard. Now it's time. You can't get by on going to the party the night before, slamming 20 beers and then going to play football. Now you got to work. You know what I mean? And I think that's where he got lost. Like he thought he could
just keep doing what he did, and then he realized that it pays more to maintain. You know, there's someone else that is very close and near and dear to everybody's heart. That this story, people will remember, ring bells. The man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel. Let me tell you a little bit about Johnny, okay? Mm-hmm. In high school, he threw for 76 passing touchdowns and 77 rushing touchdowns in his high school career. He was the first freshman Heisman winner. But now here's where like you start to see, because you were talking about like an ego or something, you know, eating at you. In college, he signed autographs for money, and it got the whole media around him all riled up. You know, and then the party boy, frat boy lifestyle came into play, and then he goes and he gets drafted by the Browns, you know, and he goes in, he has, for him and for the Browns organization, he had okay games. They weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he come in preseason, he played like 1 or 2 games like in the regular season. They were okay games, but his stupid off the field antics was what killed him, and this was like the nail in the coffin. And not just the injuries too, because he had injuries. He had tons of injuries, or injuries, as they say in quotations. But he was so party lifestyle, and like he didn't like. This is how he acted.
Oh, he was an addict. He was a full-blown alcoholic and addict.
Yeah, and he didn't, and not just that, but he thought he himself came before the game of football, not the other way around. You know, sorry, baby, we'll never let Johnny hurt you again. But anyway, he skipped a game and went to a Vegas casino, and they had pictures of it, which is crazy. It cracked me up because I saw the picture and everything. And then, like, after that season where that picture and all that was found, like, he skipped the game and went the game day. If you're not, like, okay, coach, imagine like you're hurt and you're deactivated from the game, right? You're not there. Okay, you still go to the game, don't you? You always see the players of that team. They're just sitting on the sideline. Like, if Derek Carr had last year had an injury, he's the quarterback of the team. He still goes to the game. He doesn't say, yeah, you know what? I hurt my lower back, and you know what I'm going to do? Stay home with the kids tonight. No, he goes to the field, and he goes to the game. Johnny Manziel wasn't even injured, just didn't show up but he wasn't activated on the roster, so he's like, you know what? I'm not even going to show up anyway. And he just went to a Vegas casino on game day. That's insane. But he was released, and then this is the kind of good news. So he was actually diagnosed with a bipolar disorder. Like, he's mentally disabled and like all that. And there's potentiality he could play in the CFL. They actually talked about a contract. They never agreed upon it yet, but he's going to play in this Texas league they have down there. It's like, I forget what it's called. It's I think it's like AFL or not the AFL, but it's like a Texas league or something for football, and like he's going to play down there first and see what it's like. See
if you can try. I liked Johnny Manziel. I liked him out of cockiness, but I didn't like the things that you've seen. I seen it. Like, I seen where it was going. Like, because you can't play football with be full-blown alcoholic and an addict. And your whole perspective in life, he came from, so that tells me, and with the mental health, that's just a symptom of all the years of him using. He's probably not bipolar. It just seems like he's bipolar, so they diagnose him. But if all this is true, that means his family's rich, so he has that cockiness to him. And you're playing football at high level. Oh, he's a cocky piece of shit.
He's the arrogance, though. Yeah. But the thing is, like, it was almost, noteworthy in the tabloids when he was in college. But then once you get to the NFL, it's just straight up disrespectful.
Yeah, because you're gonna get smacked in the mouth. Because Daddy can't help you out here
in the country, and everybody in the country's like, you're getting paid millions to play football. We've had that conversation before. Yeah. But
he's one of the people that falls into the category. Yeah,
because like he's really disrespecting it. Because like you can't even show up to the game, even if you're hurt or you're not active on the roster, the second string. You can't even show up to the game. You have to go somewhere else to go to a party in Las Vegas, because then that just shows you where his priorities are. And then of course you said being an addict and everything, it was hard.
10 times is every problem he has, it's 10 times magnified. But also, though, too, is if he would have came in and said, okay, I understand this ain't college no more. And he would have got with, I still think if he would have got with Drew Brees and Doug Flutie on the offseason and worked with them, I think he could have been as successful, minus all the issues.
Right.
If he didn't have the drug and alcohol issues and all that, and he really came to be a football player, he would have succeeded in the NFL.
Right.
If he would have got with those two players. Because Drew Brees is little as hell. You watch Drew Brees, 6 foot.
Yeah.
And that's what the guy that I'm going to talk about next. Drew Brees throws the ball like this. His head's cocked back. He's looking like this downfield. He's not looking like a normal quarterback.
Because he has to.
He has to look like this.
To get the height up.
And so he would have been perfect to show Johnny how to play. Doug Flutie is a little dude.
He's 5'8". He's only like
he's a little dude. And he played at a high level in the NFL.
He would jump ball like a basketball shot throw. Like he would legitimately he would jump off of his foot and throw the football.
Backyard ball.
Yeah.
And that's what Johnny was. Like they could have figured out a way to keep him healthy and safe. Tell him, hey, listen, get rid of the ball. You can't do what you did in college and take all them hits. Can't run the ball all the time. Get out of bounds sometimes. Get rid of the ball. They would have got that down and worked with how to pass and how to play in the NFL from 2 other small receivers. Quarterbacks. I think he would have been successful.
Yep. I agree. The only thing that stinks about him is just that the NFL constantly denies players that need that structure in their life, and I will save that for maybe a different day, but that structure in their lives to get things fixed. I know Alden Smith, who was a great linebacker for 49ers, and he went to the Raiders, and they cut him, and now he's 1 year in jail because he had nobody, because he was playing football and it was keeping him out of trouble, but then the one thing that happened a year ago at the DUI in San Francisco got him suspended, and then they never reinstated him. And then what are you supposed to do in the meantime? Because that football is your life, and they're not going to reinstate you. You're suspended for you. So what are you going to crush you? He's just going to become weak and
that's one of the issues like when we talked about before. That's one of the things I wanted to get at. Also, there was a point why we were talking about all this because it's the money, the free agency, the draft. Make sure you get your money, what you're worth, is because they don't give rat dick about you once you're a problem, once you're hurt. They throw you to the side. So stick them up. Go in there with a gun to your thing and say, give me $50 million for me to play football. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Get your money because they don't care about you. They just only care
if you're
about
winning games.
Yes.
If you're able to win games, because if you can't stay on the field, even if there's a chance you can't stay on the field, if you can't stay on the field and if you become a problem, they don't want you anymore. You know, the same thing happened to Colin, etc.
And I'll segue into that. Because the guy that's coming, which I was going to talk about, that's in the draft. See how we're doing that? We're segueing
yeah, right.
off,
That's good.
And it's all going right in the sync.
Natural.
Baker
Mayfield.
He's the same way. He's 6 foot. Nothing came out about him he's cocky as shit.
But nothing like,
He didn't have too much party stories about him, but he parties. You know he parties. He's a rock star.
Right.
He's a rock star, but I see him as the one that's going to be able to be successful, because the reason why is that he was able to stay healthy. He knew when to throw away. He wasn't like Johnny. Johnny would stay in the pocket too long. Johnny would scramble, hold on to the ball, not throw away. Baker throws it away. And the college style that they're playing is what most packages in the NFL. If he gets drafted by the right team and they play that style, he's going to kill it. I think he's going to be successful off the bat if he gets in the right system and team. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's and
I'll tell you this, because for each one of these the prospects we talk about this year, maybe we'll just give like a brief thing of who we think they're going to go to.
Who do I think Baker Mayfield's going to go for?
Who do you think Baker Mayfield's match in heaven is? Like what roster needs him, and who do you think he should go to? Who do you want him to go to?
I think he's not going to make it that far, but I think he would be excellent in Denver. Yep. Working with John Elway, one. Working with the receivers, Demarius and Emmanuel. Mm-hmm. I think in that offense, the way it's set up is you could easily switch it right back to Peyton Manning's offense the way he did it. And that's what Baker
pistol.
Mayfield needs.
Put him back in the pistol. Yeah.
That's what he needs. He needs that, like, let's go. And I think he'll be successful at that. I think John Elway can do it. But I don't think he's going to last that long. I think the Jets are going to get him.
Okay, gotcha. And I'll go with my prospect is Shaquem Griffin. I agree he's going to be probably a mid-round pick because he put up such a good combine performance. But the hand thing's going to get him. I think he's going to go in the third round. And the team he needs to go to...
I'm listening. I just put some pins in there.
Okay, gotcha. I'm trying to think. The team that I think would be a match for him...
I thought I put it up here before the podcast.
I have, you know what, and this is just, this isn't bias here. I think a dream team for him to go would be honestly Oakland.
Oh.
Because listen, because they need a coverage middle linebacker, and he can play that position. They have the problem with their defense is the interior, right? But whenever I think of him though, I just think because that's our problem. Like that middle of the field, that's where they get burnt all the time. And he's a coverage linebacker. I mean, he makes sacks, tackles. I mean, he makes plays everywhere he goes, according to college stats. But he's fast. He's great at covering people at that position. They just don't have speed at linebacker. And, you know, I think it would be a good place, too. And also, when I think of the Raiders, I always think of, like, the misfits in a way. Like, you know what I mean? They always take, like, this bits and scraps sometimes of, like, other NFL teams, and then they try and make them into... Because that's what they were whenever, like, they took, like, the old Jerry Rice back in the Rich Gannon, they took the Rich Gannon, and they became... You know, a great team with like these bits and pieces.
They had Randy Moss at one time.
Yeah, ragtag. That's what I want to say. They were a ragtag group, and that's when I think of that. I always think of like.
I think you know what I think that was.
What?
I think that people were trying to do. They were trying to do what Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick do now. They take players and patch them in,
and that's why they were probably good then. And of course, you know, John left and. You know, and then of course the whole
and that's the type of tree
so
he came from.
Right.
John Gruden comes from that tree.
Yeah.
Of that Bill Parcells, because you just got me into this. I have to just tell that story. It's like I seen Bill Parcells punt the fucking ball with like a minute and 31 seconds, and they're down like 2 points. They kick the ball back. He has 3 timeouts left, and he used the timeouts, got the ball back, and kicked the field goal and won the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was. He went over every scenario.
And he just said, you know what? He's like, our defense can win it. Our defense can get the ball back.
Right. He's just like one of those, and he's cut from that cloth. John Gruden is cut from like a Bill Belichick cloth.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. But it just
right. I know.
I get hyped when they talk about coaching because I love it. I love the preparation of, you know, the things you have to go through. It's such a quick time to make a good decision.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And see it pay off and everything too as well, and then see what doesn't. It's rewarding. It's rewarding. Yeah. Risk reward. But yes, like that's what I'll say about that. Now you were going ahead and segueing and about talking about our quarterback here, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker. Yeah, I pretty much think he's gonna go like to the. Yeah, I already said that. I think he's gonna. I think he'd be great in Denver. I think he's gonna go to the Jets.
That's right. But now you were saying about his ego.
His ego. He's a cocky fuck.
And do you think? Here's what I'll ask you. Do you think he will make the same mistakes as Johnny Manziel?
The reason why I think he's not going to is because I think he's going around doing the things like he was just. I watched him on a show on ESPN the other day. He was with, who was he with? He was with LaDainian Tomlinson. They were throwing a ball, doing some kind of concept,
right.
Some bullshit they have. And he met LaDainian when he was younger. LaDainian came into the store and he said he was all like low key, wasn't trying to be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And he left his stuff there, and Baker took it to him out in his car.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool story.
So, and LaDainian's telling him, like, listen, make sure, giving it to him without, if you know what you're hearing, he was basically telling him, get into your playbooks, get into your study, listen, do what you're supposed to do type shit, and you'll be fine. So, and I think he's going to be that guy that says, you know what, I got to look at it like this. Do I want to be Johnny Manziel, or do I want to be Carson Wentz and Jared Goff?
Yeah, right.
Come in and get success right away.
Right.
It's that, and I think he's smart enough to say, I'm gonna go this way.
Even if their first, I mean Carson. Yeah, think about it too. Carson Wentz, Jared Goff's season. Their first seasons weren't the greatest.
No, but they're successful.
They're successful now
successful.
because they did what you just said. They said we're gonna put our face in the playbook. We're gonna do what we gotta do for the football.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna deal with the extracurricular. I mean, we're gonna have extracurriculars in our life.
You
obviously,
gotta be like
but,
that.
But our football, but they're gonna prioritize. Say this is more important than this.
That'll come later.
Right. Exactly. That'll come later whenever I'm 40 and just the club.
Not even that. You get to where you know what the fuck you're doing.
You don't have to. Yeah, you're right. I know what you mean. You don't
Make
have to
those
say that.
highlights. Get your teammates on your squad. Think about that. I think that's what has to happen. If you're like a receiver or something like that, you can get. But a quarterback,
I see what you're saying.
a cornerback, receivers rely mostly on like talent and agility. Can you get better? But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more easier for them than it is, way more easier than a quarterback. You got to know your playbook as a receiver. You got to know all that stuff. But I think it's easier for them to adapt because it's a quarterback. It's pressure like a motherfucker. It's pressure to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, it is.
People think that shit's just like, that's what bugs me when people say, oh, that's all they got to do is go play.
Right.
It fucking bugs me, man, because I'm like, and just imagine if you going to work, you're great at your job, you're a roofer.
Yeah.
Just imagine, 50, 60,000 people around you screaming at you.
To do good or do bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, put that in. Woo! Yes, they celebrate,
Yeah.
but then they will call you a piece of garbage whenever
If you miss the fucking
nail.
Yeah,
You're
you're
like, oh.
fucked. You don't tell me that you're gonna fuck up.
You missed the shingle. Ah!
You're gonna fall off the fucking
Cut him!
roof.
Cut him! Cut his
Right.
contract. Sign a new roofer.
Right, you're done. You're out of the union. Get out.
Could you imagine? Like, yeah, exactly. When people say that.
Beat it.
Now, speaking of, who do I want to talk about? Getting cut, and you better yet having potential, and then you never even get to your full potential. I want to talk about Chris Leak.
Chris Leak.
Chris
I
Leak.
remember Chris Leak. He won a national championship.
He did. He had the fourth best high school career in history. The fourth best. He committed to Florida. He was the first to commit to a college on national television. He beat a future national champion at LSU his freshman year. And then Chris Leak actually played with Tim Tebow, if none of you guys know that. And then they won the 2006 SEC championship and then went on to win the championship, the national championship his senior year. And then what's crazy is Chris went completely undrafted. Isn't that crazy? You won a national championship, you still go undrafted? Went undrafted to the Bears in 2007, joining Rex Grossman. We talked about that.
Wait. He went undrafted. The Bears, what?
He went.
Free agent picked him up?
Yeah, because once the draft was over, they signed him during training camp, and he played and he was there in 2007, and he played one preseason game. One preseason.
They got him out of
and he got one pick,
one
interception, 100-something yards.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You're good. Say what you're gonna say.
To me, the Florida, when they were having their success back there, the system was just way ahead of everybody.
Right, and then I think Nick Saban was their coach.
No,
Urban Meyer.
No,
It was Urban Meyer.
Was it Urban Meyer,
It was
or was
Urban
it
Meyer.
was it the one before him, the one that coached South Carolina until he
it was-
retired last year?
What's his name?
What the fuck?
It's
is
Urban
it?
Meyer.
They call him a ball coach. No, it's not. Urban Meyer coaches Penn State. It might have been the other one when Chris Leak was playing there. What's his name? They call him the old ball coach. Google South Carolina. Who was the last South?
I'm telling you, it was Urban Meyer.
Go ahead. It might have been Urban Meyer, but
telling
I'm
you, it was
saying
Urban
there
Meyer.
was another coach there.
Timeout.
I'm just wondering when did Urban Meyer
Timeout.
when did Urban Meyer take over?
Urban Meyer. Let me look at it. He's the coach.
Because I still think the old ball coach is close.
He coached Florida. Yep, 2005 through 2010.
Okay,
So
it
he
close.
was there when Chris Leak won the national championship, basically.
Okay.
And then in 2012, the present. Now, what was I going back to?
I still want to know who the coach was. I'm going to figure that out. Go ahead. You can keep talking.
Okay, but anyway, so they won that championship. He joined there with Rex Grossman. He played one preseason game and then got cut. And then you remember what the AAFL was? It was supposed to be It was supposed to be like the XFL, like that secondary supplementary football league, right? So he just stopped pursuing NFL altogether, and he went to join the AAFL. You had to be a collegiate graduate to join the league. he goes there, and the whole entire AFL fell through before it even started. The whole entire league just fell to pieces. So he never got his chance even in that league. Next played back up in the CFL, and he was solid actually. Whenever he came in for an injured player, his first play he came in for the CFL was a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the He was on the same team who won the Super Bowl equivalent in the CFL. And then he was dropped by the CFL because he kept getting injured. And then he ended up playing Arena Football League, right? First start, 5 touchdowns. After one of the players goes down. And then after that...
that's a whole different game, though.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, like, we're talking about his whole entire story here. Because this thing just goes downhill. Like, this guy has...
it went fucking bad?
Huh? Oh, it goes... Yeah, because every time he has a glimmer of success, this quarterback, this guy, 4th best in high school history, every time this guy's a glimmer of hope or success, he gets shit on. You know what I mean? Like, he goes undrafted. I don't know what that whole story is about.
I mean, his life and...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So he throws 5 touchdowns in the Arena League, and then anyway, they started this other guy that was there before him after he threw 5 touchdowns, and he decided to skip practice, coach. He's like, I'm not coming to practice. He's like, I just put in all this work, threw 5 touchdowns, and then you're not going to give me a chance, right? So instead of them just like, bringing him in the office saying, hey, don't do that, as like whatever, as like you just need to understand this guy was here before you, they just suspended him, straight up suspended him. And after that, he retired from the game of football completely. He went and then did an XM radio show as an XM radio show host for football, and then he became a high school coach. Now, okay, listen. So the records. Let me tell you about the records. Around the time that he became a coach, they were good for the high school team. He looked at all the records, except for the year he actually coached. They went 1-10, so he failed miserably at that, and then. He was then placed under investigation for sexual assault of a minor. He was getting a massage from a 15-year-old girl, and he asked her for a sexual favor and then denied the allegations. And they still haven't convicted him to this day. And but he voluntarily gave up his teaching license. In hindsight though, it's just crazy. That guy Chris Leak's whole entire legacy is like overshadowed by Tim Tebow, because once they left, Tim Tebow took over the Florida team. And, then Tim went to the NFL, and then Tim played for the Broncos in the playoffs, and then Tim...
beat the fucking Steelers that year.
Yeah.
Pissed me off in that playoff game. That shit sucked.
But Tim Tebow and it's crazy.
But I think it's the system in Florida. They were way ahead of everybody.
Right. But
from the time the old boy... it's pissing me off. I can't remember his name.
The guy that coached Florida before...
Yeah, he won like 3 national championships.
Yeah, but... like I said, but I was just saying, like, in summary, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, you can have all that success, and then some quarterback like Tim Tebow just comes in, and he totally overshadows your career. Like, no, everybody forgot you even existed.
Well, yeah, Rex Grossman had success, no success. Florida quarterbacks it's just the system.
Yep.
The system down there. I don't know why. I mean, lately they starting to come back a little more because LSU just... they started to tighten up defense, and then Coach Saban just fucking made Alabama basically a pro team.
Yeah, basically.
They're basically a pro football team. You know what I mean?
Professional.
And that segues into Chris Leak. I wanted to say somebody good, but I'm going to have to go to add on to the bad.
Yeah,
this has got to be the worst fucking story that I know of in my time being alive in football. Is Ryan Leaf.
I know that. I've heard that story, yeah. Go ahead.
Ryan Leaf, okay, he's in the class with Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The Colts are trying to figure out who do they want, Manning or Leaf. They chose Manning.
Right.
Even though dude had a stronger arm, more accurate, but they chose Manning because Manning had the more intelligence on the test that they take to see who would be teachable, basically, who would be able to adapt quick and grow. And so they took Manning, which was definitely the fucking right choice, because Ryan Leaf gets in there, and I think, like, I got some notes right here. I got a notebook. We're getting a little professional with this. Pretty soon we'll have some mics and everything. We're gonna be good. But let me go through a little bit of this stuff. So he's drafted number 2 behind Manning.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers actually made the trade up to get him, hoping They didn't want Manning. They wanted Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
So they made some trades to get up to get him. So this is his NFL stats. 21 games.
Okay.
4-14 record out of 18 starts.
Jesus. That's bad.
And he had 14 TDs. Listen to this.
And 21 games. That's awful. Good.
14 TDs in 21 games. 36 interceptions.
Holy hell!
48% completion percentage.
That is like the worst of any quarterback I've ever heard of.
It was bad. Then he had that blowout interview where they're asking. He just flipped. He flipped. Then we knew there was a problem. Okay, so it goes on like he fucking gets. So he's out of football.
Yeah, right.
That after that blow up, they pretty much after the season that's it. We're cutting ties with you. He gets arrested for fucking breaking into somebody's houses to steal prescription pills. He's all fucking fleeked out now. So he gets arrested for that. And I forgot what he did. He did something weird that ended up getting some jail time from this same thing. But he ended up getting 32 months in the feds for burglary. He had to do federal times. Okay, so he was all fucking tweaked out, man. They said he was gone. Like, he was just addicted to that shit. You know what I mean? He was stealing. He was writing bad checks. All caught up to him. But he ended up, like, that was like the number. They say that's the number one flop. Everybody agrees on that, man. If you seen it in real time, if you ever get a chance to go back, anybody get a chance to go back there, look this shit up, man, because it was, like, disgusting how he felt. You could tell that something was totally wrong with this guy. Yeah, he had to been fucking addicted when he was playing. Probably in college and everything, too. But there's a good ending to this. He fucking goes to jail. Gets clean. Comes out. He's been sober. He went to jail in 2012. That's when he got out. 2012. And he's been clean since then. And he actually he's been clean since then. He works in drug rehabilitation. Goes around and shares his story. He talks to NFL players, especially quarterbacks. I'm sure he had a conversation with Johnny Manziel, and Johnny was like, "Yeah, get out of here, dick face." You know,
get out of here, dick face.
Can you see him saying that though?
Yeah.
Like, you failed. Get the fuck out of here. I'm Johnny Football. I could see him saying that shit.
Yeah, and then
he might not have said it right to his face, but he said it with his
right.
actions. Like,
right. And then Johnny now being 25, he's come out with interviews and stuff where like he's like at that Ryan Leaf level now, because like he's like after like being out of the game, I think he came down because they did an interview with him. He's just humble. He's like, yeah, he's like I goofed up.
I gotta do it.
Yeah, and that's good though. It's good because
if you want a shot,
Johnny's 25 and he still can play football.
He can get in 3 years, he can get him a good 4 or 5 years in the NFL.
Right, but I'm saying like Ryan Leaf, he got pissed out all the way because he had to go to jail.
Oh, he pissed it all the way. But like he says, I watched the 30. They had 30-30 on him, and he says like he wasn't meant to play football. He's meant to do what he's doing right now. He doesn't. He feels so much like fitting in life.
If you throw 30-something picks to 14 touchdowns, I feel like you weren't meant to play football either.
I think there was more. I think he would have been a good quarterback if he wasn't strong.
It was just a joke. I was just trying to
get there. I get it. I just think he would have been a fucking better. You know what I'm saying? He was all tweaked out, but this is also what they said though, too, that the San Diego Chargers didn't help Ryan Leaf adjust to the NFL, which they do now. They make it a mandatory that they teach all rookies. That's why Eli Manning didn't want to play for the Chargers and got traded to the Giants.
Right.
Because he's seen how they handled his dad, basically.
Yeah.
It was like, you don't want to go there. They didn't help him adjust to the NFL. They just threw him to the wolves. And then when he was having a bad time, they never coached him up.
Yeah, right, because they didn't even try. They just said, 30-something picks, that doesn't need to be coached. You're just that bad.
Yeah. That's pretty
That's
much
what's
what happened
sad.
to him. But I'm glad he got his life together, man, because it was fucking like it was a train wreck watching this shit. It was like a whole year of football, like every week. What the fuck is Ryan Leaf gonna do this week?
What's Ryan Leaf gonna fuck up this week?
Right.
Oh god.
So it was crazy. That was crazy. You know what I mean? But there's still worse. There's another one. Who else you got in the draft?
Like this year's draft.
Did you go through all of them?
Right.
I think you got one more.
Mm-hmm. I was talking about Chubb.
Oh, Chubb.
Bradley Chubb. I want to say his name was
Chubb.
I believe it was Bradley Chubb. I like his name. Bradley Chubb.
Chubb. He's got a chubby. What the fuck was they said? Who did they say he was going to?
They have him going to like one of the teams that needs a pass rusher. They if he's around, they say the Raiders are gonna pick him up. But then there's like all these other teams too, like the Colts might pick him up.
That's who they said he's going to go to. The Colts, and they think they want them to sign Sue, and they said that could change the Colts' whole fucking, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, change their whole
whole fucking season from last year.
Right, exactly the hole that they were in. I mean. And they have pieces there, like I said. And honestly, if I were them, with like how much Andrew Luck's getting injured, I mean Andrew Luck's a good quarterback, but like me personally, in like that GM spot, I'm like, how often is he available though? I'd start thinking about trading him and getting picks so I could get a better.
Yeah, you get Andrew Luck's a person you got to have a line. They don't have a fucking great line for him.
Well, that's the reason why he's getting hurt so much is because he was just
and
taking
he's holding
sacks.
on to the ball a lot too.
Yeah, well, it's because not just holding on to it because of that though, because he's got it. He's either gonna have to take a hit or throw it because they don't got time.
Well, you got to throw the ball. I watched Andrew Luck.
Look.
I watched him since college. He holds on to the ball. He's like Ben Roethlisberger. He thinks he can make a play. But he's not as big and durable as Ben. Ben takes hits. He gets banged up, but he can get up and keep playing.
Yeah, because he's fat.
Fuck, yeah,
He's got fat on him.
Stop it. You know Ben's fucking the best at what he does, baby. Even at nowadays, right?
Yeah, because all
Admit
that fat,
it.
he weighs them down so they can just shrug people up.
Here we go. And I suppose Derek Carr's little feminine ass.
Well, he is. He got his spine broken and his fibula broken.
Because he's fucking fat. He
say
needs some fat, mom.
He needs to put on some weight. He just all the quarterbacks just need to put on like they all need to be 300 pounds. They don't look like
should all backyard ball, man.
They gotta
Fuck
look like
all that
Jamarcus.
shit.
They don't look like Jamarcus Russell that one year, like after his
He was a fucking.
That's a guy we could talk about, but I don't. I digress. But Chubb, like I said, we'll talk a little bit maybe about his career and everything. He did great. He received a bunch of honors. He finished third in the Atlantic Coast Conference in tackles for a loss. In a game against Boston College, Chubb recorded 2.5 sacks to pass Mario Williams as the all-time sack leader in NC State Wolfpack history. So, I mean, he's great. And people say for the size he is, he's got great skills. As for home life, I mean, he has a brother who's in the NFL who's a linebacker, Brandon Chubb, I believe. And he actually was a special teamer for the Oakland Raiders. And it was kind of cool, just to know that, a little fun fact. And I believe now that his brother plays for the Rams, or maybe he came from the Rams and went to the Raiders. I don't know. It was the one way or the other. But regardless, Bradley he's looked at like he's going to be a top pass rush prospect because he
Are
sets
these
the
guys
edge.
related to Nick Chubb? Or is Chubb?
Maybe. Hold on. Let me see if who his dad is, if I can look that up.
It might be. I mean, Chubb is like not a common name.
Right. But they have that. Yeah. He's related to somebody, though, one of the Chubbs that was like the older generation, you know what I mean, of like an older generation of Chubbs that played in the NFL. I believe that they said his father was a player or something. I can't think of who. But regardless, they're really saying this guy's going to be, great.
Good,
and you don't hear bad things. You just hear things like, he sticks out. He sticks out as a player on the field, which is good. A lot of times that's what you want to see in your prospect, a guy who sticks out on the field and not off of it, Like, you're just like, wow, look at that guy. He's amazing on the field.
Making plays. You don't hear about him off the field.
Yeah.
And that's the type of players, like the type of players that you got to get, you got to seem to find in the draft. And I think they get away from this nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they're always looking for the star and they'll put up with some bullshit. But give me a guy that has an upside that, like, his ceiling ain't hit. And his ceiling ain't hit, but he's a hell of a fucking team player on the field. Mm-hmm. He's somebody you can get to when the game's on the fucking line and say, hey, I need you to, keep these guys together and fucking make the right plays.
Yeah, I mean, like the guy who won't get in his own head, deep in the game, and that's what they say.
Fuck up.
And that's what they look for in your quarterback nowadays too. Is like when you hear someone say good things about your quarterback, they always say he's the guy on the field who says this game isn't over. He's like line up. It's like you run your play, you run your route, you block for me. As like you gotta carry the ball, blah blah. You gotta the running back, whatever he's gotta say. He's like this game ain't over. And then he'll tell the defense the same things. Like you guys gotta go out there and play D. He's like just do what you gotta do. He's like I'm not gonna coach you. He's like but that's the kind of guy I've seen that because that's when people say things about Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. And they say things about Derek. They say things about Andrew Luck even. They would say things like that. That's why they respected those players so much in the league. Because those guys will come out.
And you're missing out on the top one that does it year in and year out.
You're going to say about Ben?
Ben?
Who contemplates retirement after one bad game?
What the fuck does that have to do? His body is a fucking... Did you see the injury chart of him? Of course he's contemplating fucking retirement, bro. But let's say this. Everybody says the same thing about Ben. In the fourth quarter, and he's up there in career fourth quarter wins, I think only behind Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. And fourth quarter comeback wins.
Career?
Career. I think only Drew Brees is above him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think. I'm not sure. You have to do some research.
But
he's in the top 3. I know that for a fact.
You know what you do? When you get a button, like whenever people watch the video, every time you say research it pops up like bigger letters and says research.
Make sure. Oh, that's our fucking waiver or our fucking disclaimer.
Research it.
Don't fucking go on what we say. Don't fucking do that. Research. That's what you should always do about anything. That's the way to avoid ignorance. Is to research it so you know, and that will save you some trouble and me, if you're talking to me, a fucking headache because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
But we didn't get too much in depth on all the stats, but just always research anything you're doing. And you just brought me to defensive wise. That's why I changed it because I didn't have a defense. But I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to be a hell whoever gets him. I want the Steelers to fucking get him. To be honest, fuck Bell. I'm about had it with Bell.
Right.
I about had it with him because but he's starting to change his tune because he said I'll retire, but that next day he must have got a phone call like, dude, we'll fucking trade you right now. We don't give a fuck. And the Steelers don't.
Right.
They really don't. They'll be like,
whatever. Like you want
we'll
out of
just
here.
Find another back.
You're right. Yeah. Exactly.
He might in that leverage of being all your antics before that. The only person they really did that for was Hines Ward, because Hines Ward was at the games when he was holding out. He was at the games on the sidelines.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Preseason, he just wasn't able to participate.
He would just sit there at the practices. I mean, he didn't just not show up. He would try and
he's talking to people. You know what I mean? That's why they were like, okay, we're gonna give this guy his money.
Yeah, right.
Because he deserves it.
Because he's not gonna act like an immature child about it either. He's just saying. Hey, I want to get paid, and you guys aren't going to do that. He's like, I'm not going to disrespect this organization and this sport by not showing up. I was like, but I'm going to, I'm going to try and get you to understand that I need paid and I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to participate and do the things you want me to do and cooperate until I get paid.
But Minkah, I think he's because he can play anything. He can play free, strong, and he can play cornerback. And he can play, if you want to put him as he's a hybrid. He can play in the 4-2-5 at linebacker.
Yeah.
He can do all of it. So whoever picks him up, he's going to be another.
Jabril Peppers. That was the Jabril Peppers.
Jabril choked though this year. He wasn't that, but
he was on the Browns roster and he wasn't a starter because he was behind what's his face. So Jabril really never got a shot. I don't think.
He started the season as a starter because he was playing against the Steelers.
Right.
They did a great job against us.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying as the season went on, I believe Jabril faded out.
He might have faded out.
And they put what's his face in there, and then it just kind of simmered off that way where Jabril just never got back on the field, which of course that could be an indication that he's not very good or maybe didn't practice very well or didn't know the plays very well.
He just didn't pick up. They said what I got from the experts was
the experts
that don't know shit, but they're all saying I think I kind of believe this one is that he just doesn't fit what's his name system, the
Hugh Jackson.
defensive coordinator system. I forget who it is, but he's Greg Williams.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of who just got cut before we went on and started recording.
Tyrann.
Tyrann, the Badger, Honey Badger.
The Honey Badger. Honey Badger don't play no games. Honey Badger don't give no shits.
He reminds me of his physicality, his covers. Him. He reminds me of him. I think Minka is going to be very good.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we go into free agency. Now, another point where I was trying to make out of all this is the Honey Badger situation.
Uh-huh.
They asked him to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not taking no pay cut.
Just because
so you're out of here. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. What do you do in that scenario?
What, being from the Badger perspective or there's a GM perspective?
The Badger.
The Badger
Player.
perspective?
We're going to speak player. We already know what the GM's going to do.
Right, because they already did it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if you're in the Badger in that situation, it all depends if you are technically as a person, because you might look at it as a bad thing and you're like, man, I really would have liked to play for the Cardinals. But at the same time, if a team's not going to appreciate the value you have to a roster, and I would be like, good riddance, I'm glad I'm out of here. And I would love to go to another team. Right now, I believe I saw something that says he's supposed to go with either...
To Steelers.
I don't know, I didn't read...
No, we're not good. We don't have the money.
Yeah, but like I said, I saw that he was supposed to visit with... No, maybe it was the Domicon. The Domicon's supposed to visit with Oakland and Dallas, and Tyrann is supposed to visit... Well, they have I just saw a thing pop up because I follow the Raiders on NFL. Mm-hmm. They said, will Tyrann sign with the Raiders? So I don't know if he's actually visiting or not. But I think he's supposed to visit also with... There was a team that they said that they wanted him to go to, that people were saying he was going to go or visit, like before he got cut. And I can't think of who. The Lions, Detroit. Either the Raiders or the Lions he's going to visit. So, like I said, you got to look at it like that. He's going to visit an organization who's going to want to take care of him, you know? And
this is where, you know who gets sneaky here?
Who?
And ends up pulling this shit out and getting one of these players? The fucking Patriots.
Yep. And you know what they're going to be doing while everybody's chasing the big names? They're going to be looking for the guys that are solid players, real quiet, because that's what they do.
Wheel and deal.
And that's what they do.
They'll trade a person here quietly, and then they'll be like, let us get this draft pick. He's going to be on the board. They're excellent at that.
Yeah, and they do, because and it's funny, it's like they're quiet while the rest of the league makes moves, you know, because like the league's like they're throwing money out like it's like a fucking stock exchange.
Like that thing, like the fucking thing we were at.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, $10 give it the auction.
Yeah, the auction, right? And I'm saying like they're doing stocks at like, you know, at Dow Jones and everything, and like and like there's just that one guy who's just on E-Trade at home. That's the Patriots. They're just like
sitting watching it.
They're just watching their stock go up on their computer. They're like, you know what? And he's like, they make a phone call, real quiet from their office. Yeah.
You want a job?
Yeah, what a job.
Honey Badger.
Honey Badger. You want a job, Honey Badger?
You can come over here with the winners.
The winners.
Even though we lost.
Yeah.
That was a great game, though.
That was a great Super Bowl. Yep, I agree with that.
It was great. I'm proud of the Eagles.
Yeah, like I said.
And I just knew, though, you could see. Did you see that last drive before the defensive guy made the only defensive play of the game?
Yeah, right, pretty much.
At the end of the game,
because
and you could see it happening all over again. What was going to happen? Touchdown, Patriots, win, thing.
Oh, correction. Seahawks and Dallas I sued. Raiders are no longer in the running for a Domicon. It is Seattle and Dallas. I just read it off Bleacher Report.
Seattle and Dallas.
Seattle and Dallas is interested in Domicon suit.
Yeah. I didn't understand that move to get rid of Bennett to pick up.
I think and this is if you're a Seahawks fan it sucks, but I think you're about to be in a fucking, because I believe the Seahawks are about to go and like rebuild.
Oh, they're rebuilding,
and it's gonna or not. I don't think it's called a rebuild because you have a quarterback. You can never call it a rebuild until you don't have a quarterback. I think you're renovating. You're taking out big chunks of your positioning and you're remodeling the roster.
And they even say Earl Thomas might be gone. They got the injuries to their two players that they're not sure if they're going to be back.
Earl? Oh,
and they say if Earl Thomas doesn't get what he's asking for, he's hitting the market.
That's crazy. That's
so they're probably talking with him right now. Like, what do you want to?
That Seahawks roster isn't even going to look a lick the same anymore.
That's the thing. They had the window, but they let the Patriots fucking screw them out of that game.
Yeah.
It was just a bad coaching call.
Yeah, right.
Period. They had the game. With that window, you gotta win within that time. You know what I mean? You gotta, if you get a team together, you gotta win as many as you can. You should win 2. You should be able to win 2.
Agreed. You should be able to win 2. Especially
with a
that
strong,
that they had, that defense, and they were there. They pile drive the shit out of Denver that one Super Bowl. I remember watching. I was just laughing my ass off because I'm like, wow, this is even a game. And like I saw someone dumb chick tweet, "Go Seattle, beat the Seahawks."
Go Seattle beat the Seahawks.
She said, "Go Seattle, beat the Seahawks."
Don't you hate
Twitter.
when people do that?
And I'm just like, bro, come on.
Or they think they
I'll
know
never
what they're
forget it.
talking about, and they'll say something, and you'd be like,
What?
shut the fuck.
You-
I only want to be around motherfuckers that know football when football's on.
Yeah.
I don't want you to try.
Right. Don't try, because they used to make me mad. Just get out of my presence.
Because
you know?
most of my chicks...
Didn't we just say though, if we had a chick on here, it's like she doesn't have to know what she's talking about, we'll just correct her.
I said she had to, but you said...
I said it's all right. We'll
just look good.
That's rude.
A chick that looks good, you can fucking you can let that shit go.
You're just like, hey, you look cute. You know what? Just let it go.
Just let it go. A chick that looks good, you might put up with a few like...
Go.
A few fucking...
Why did he tackle me?
Yeah. Why did they celebrate and shit like that?
No, why did they go out of bounds? Because they need to stop the clock.
Yeah, shit like that. You can be like, all right, you look good. Pat her on the ass. Pass the chips.
Pass the chips.
But anybody else is fucking annoying. You gotta know.
Yeah, like the friend that comes over and like he only knows information about one team. That guy, what I'm talking about. He only knows about his team, and then like he tries to talk about the other teams. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Get out of here. Right. Like, stick to the Seahawks, okay?
I can't deal with that shit. If you come around, know this, future people. If we ever meet and we're on a football gathering, don't try to know. Just say flat out, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I think you guys are cool as fuck. I want to drink a beer with you. Let's sit the fuck down and do that. Just don't over try. That goes for anything in life. Like I learned that early in my life. Don't ever try to be something that you're not, because that shit'll just fuck you over, man. Just be yourself. I respect everybody that's their self. Don't try to be nothing that you're not.
Right. So I mean,
wrapped it up.
I mean, in conclusion, though, I was just gonna say, I mean, if you look at NFL free agency, I'll tell you what. Here's what I want to end on. The note I want to end on. Right. If you're a college player, right, we talk about the mistakes that other college, the pitfalls that other college players and actual players that played in the NFL fell into. Mm-hmm. What would be like your advice to them? It's just basically, focus on football or your passion. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, if it's not your passion. And I mean, of course, drugs don't make drugs your passion. God, I mean, I'm just saying. But focus on football. If it's really what you want to do, make sure you focus on it. You cradle. I mean, you've trained your whole life to get here. You get there. You get the opportunity to be in the draft. Don't squander that opportunity for whatever event might have happened to you.
I think, and I'm pretty sure there is. On the staff, they hire people that's what they do for their players. When they're players, they see them slipping into shit. That's their job. It's usually older players.
Yeah, right.
That been in the league and know how things go to try to coach them up. Because it's hard for like a head coach
to take care of that, because he's got to take care of 53.
You got other people,
right?
You know what I mean. And you're like, I want to help this kid. I want to spend time with him, but I'm neglecting. Yep. What we need to do to get prepared on the field. So I think I've seen
coaches. I said I'll bring it again. Jack Del Rio tweeted about the whole Alden Smith situation, seeing him go to jail. And he's like, this could all been avoided had we had programs in place to bring him back to football. But the league's so strict, they just suspend him.
And a suspension. And do if there's something like that, like
I
drugs and all that, they should have to report somewhere and have to do something to get back in the league.
Right. Yeah. I'm saying
not just urine or.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying they have to do rehab and like a 4-game suspension at the most, because because if you take them and remove them from the game, they're never gonna get back to the game, and you know what I mean? Because you take them out for a whole season, that's a whole season, and then especially when they're younger, you take them out for a whole season, and then they're stuck, they're out of it, they're already moved from the game from a year, because and then you don't you don't force them to go to rehab. You just suspend them for a year. You don't have any other stipulations. You can't be near the football field for a year. And then they're just like, all right, come on back. And you never got help for yourself.
And speaking of that, I think who handled it well, that could have fucking lost it and everything, is Gordon from the Browns.
Yeah, Josh Gordon. I mean, he took a while. He took a while, but he came around.
He got it together. And he had a semi-productive year last year. If they would have had an established quarterback, he'd had a big year. And they just drafted. The Browns are going to be a totally fucking different team.
I know.
It's going to be competitive over in the AFC North. It might not be the Bengals or the Ravens. I'm not sure about them, but the Browns ain't going to be the fucking joke again next year.
They're gonna make a joke of some other teams.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. They need to have shit like that because you can't use players. Because this is what it is. Like, this is what I was really trying to get out the whole thing. And I was going to say this at the end. Like, that's all it is. Like, they look at, like, if you look at this shit and you compare it to things in the past, it's like you're just a fucking piece of product. You're meat. You're a fucking slave. You know what I mean? The combine, they look at you, they tell you to take your shirt off. That's what they used to do to slaves.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They stand them on a thing and take the shirt off, show your strength.
And it's like it said, it's not even like you're black or white anymore. It's just, hey, you play football? Yeah. Take your shirt off and you're good at it.
Pick this weight up, show us how fast you can run, and we might fucking pay you to play.
But I mean, I'll see other good too. Like, they are getting paid millions of dollars. Like, if someone told you to take your shirt off and start lifting weights, would you do it?
If I was invited to a fuck yeah, I'd do it. But what I'm saying is, like, that's all fine and dandy if there's something in place when shit goes wrong.
I hear that, because then their whole lives just slip from out underneath them, and it's it, because they train their whole lives to get to that spot. And then, I mean, you still have to be smart enough not smart enough, but, you know, but I understand what you're saying. There needs to be a system in place.
But is there a responsibility of the NFL to say,
to players,
we have to try to help these people so they're successful in life?
Yeah.
Not just the NFL?
Right. Because
everything is geared to, we profit. You buy an NFL team, it goes up in value every year, and there's always going to be somebody that's going to buy the team.
Right.
When you want to sell. So that is credited to the players.
And those players make that, they build that dynasty. They build it. They build the worth of it. They really do. And then it sucks because once they're past their prime, they're no longer earning income from that, you know. I mean, unless they start their own businesses and stuff like that, but they don't earn income anymore. But the NFL, that team, that dynasty, that whoever owns that team, they're going to continue to make money until they die or give it up.
Even off your merch, too.
Yeah, even off your merchandise, which is crazy. So when you think about it like that, it is. But whatever, but like I said, like that's just my advice to college. But what would you give your advice to the college players coming out? Like
the college kids, I would tell them, you know, yes, if we know you're getting in that draft and you're going to get a draft and you get drafted, keep your head down. Get around the people that you want to get around, the people that are hungry, the people that are working, the people that are like not saying let's go to the club tonight, let's go look at our playbook, or let's go do extra work, let's go do some footwork. Get with those type of people, just like anything. Get with the fucking people that are trying to work and win, and stay in that circle. Stay in that circle.
Because if you stay in that circle, you're gonna win.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And work your fucking ass off. Like, this is your only shot. Think about, remember we talked about it on the show. Right. The odds.
Yeah, right.
Of getting there.
If you get there, you've already beat.
You better bust your ass, man.
Because that's the shot, man. That's the money train.
You better bust your ass, because a lot of people, like why we do this is because I've had many opportunities. I could have been doing many things at my younger age if we lived in today's time. We just didn't know no better.
Right, exactly.
There was nobody teaching us. There was no role models. There was no internet that you could get on and you could see somebody telling you something.
And all the information was available to you, right?
And we had not, the role models were not around, because in the era that I grew up, it's a tough era. That's something we'll talk about era. But there was no male role models around. They were all in jail for others. We'll talk about that one day, though.
Yeah.
But we didn't have it. But that's what you have to do. You just have to get in there and bust your ass. And don't worry about girls. Don't worry about none of that shit. Secure your job.
Period. Point blank.
Coach knows that he can count on you. And that's it. Players know they can count on you. Keep your name out of the mud and just go work.
All right, guys. Well, that's the Bridging the Gap podcast for today. Again, I enjoyed our talk here about football. Let us know what you think about the NFL players and the draft and free agency. Who do you think's going where? What's going to happen? As always, take care of yourself. Stay beautiful.
Subscribe. Get over to YouTube and subscribe.
And maybe we'll do a t-shirt giveaway in the future here for subscribers. As always, take care. See ya.